Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Gaming in the Obama Years. This week we are again continuing with the Uncharted series. Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Let's get this out of the way. The game is once again amazing. So now that we have the praise out of the way, here is the heavy criticism. I wasn't particularly pleased with how the story progressed. I was outraged, actually. We learn in the game that Nate married Elena, but they separated for who knows why. But by the end of the game, they come back together. A fresh start. If it was bros before hoes, then it is always bros before hoes, fellas. This never happens in the real world. This game makes me feel like I'm part of Team Edward. I dislike this kind of motivation for the main character. Attempting to use a love plot in order to make the main character more vulnerable is a terrible idea. I got a better idea. Why don't you just give Nate testicular cancer instead? If you're going to destroy Nate's manhood, you might as well have done it literally. On top of that, make no mistake, they are a mismatch. Nate would have been much better off with Chloe, since they are both the adventuring type. It would have been a far better game if we were allowed to make these kinds of decisions, but now I fear we've taken a great game series and just killed it dead. If there even is a next game, we should probably expect the working title to be Uncharted 4, Drake, Take Out the Garbage, or Uncharted 4, Drake, Buy Me Some Pads on Your Way Home. As I have previously stated in the Uncharted 2 review, there's nothing wrong with adding a love interest in the story. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But what is wrong with this is that this is now a major plot point in the story, and it doesn't make any sense at all. It makes far more sense to have a Nate and Chloe duel, since they both do adventures. I have a challenge for Naughty Dog. Fix this. In the next installment, Nate separates from Elena because she cheated on him with Sully. Imagine the shock to the gaming world when Nate finds out his friend betrays him, not only in his personal life, but also took his thunder by stealing a treasure that would have made him rich and famous. That's one way we could fix this mess, as well as add a different element to the story to continue. The other complaint I had was the control was messed with. Aiming for some reason became oddly more difficult. The movement just doesn't feel right, and they shouldn't have messed with it. It just isn't as tight as it was in the previous game, and that's a shame.
Good, thanks.
One more thing. The gunfights are downright frustrating. These are far worse than anything we've ever experienced in the series before. There are these super armored foes that make you want to punch somebody in real life. You end up unloading all your ammo on just one guy. Also, the enemies are now more than too happy to toss you grenades like Halloween candy. So you're forced to scramble around cover. I suppose that it would have been less frustrating with tighter controls, so maybe that's something else. Again, overall, the game is great in almost every way, but there certainly needs some fixes. Please go back to the Uncharted 2 formula and don't mess with it. So that's all for this week in Gaming the Obama Years. We'll see you next week.